Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Dan with Adventuring Today, and recently I did a top 10 feature list and the things that I love about my Super Duty, and I've had a lot of requests to review our 2018 Ford Expedition, and so I thought maybe the easiest way to do that would be to do another top 10 favorite feature on this vehicle. And so I'm going to read you what they are. I'm going to show you these features individually and try to do this in as short amount of time as I possibly can. So here are my top 10 features. So number one, there's a little button on the dashboard to flip the rear headrest. It's a really cool feature, and it really helps open up the view behind the vehicle if the kids leave them up or something like that. So I'll show you that. It's a really easy, quick feature to show you. Number two, the 10-speed transmission. Number three, the EcoBoost motor. Number four, massaging seats. Number five, second row folding seats. Number six, drive select. Number seven, the technology in the vehicle in general. Number eight is a second row legroom. Number nine is parallel parking feature. And then number 10 is the rear seat control. So I'm gonna go through each one of these with you here in a few minutes, and stick with me, okay? Thanks a lot. All right, everybody, so here we are with the headrest feature. So as you can see, my kids probably just got out of the truck. This is the third row headrest here. They're up, and when you are in the vehicle and you're driving, as you can see through the rearview mirror, if you can see that headrest, this is on the passenger side. You know, it's quite a bit of your rear view is blocked, and so Ford has given you this great feature, which is located right here on the dashboard. So it's right above the light control, and it's this button right here. So I'm going to push this button, and you will see what happens with the back of the vehicle. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. Now you can really see the whole window behind the vehicle. I love that feature about my Expedition. Okay guys, how you doing? I've made other videos. I've got one other one in particular on this truck that talks about the 10-speed transmission, and so, but I thought I would show it to you again. A lot of times people just don't believe me that this transmission in this vehicle does skip gears, and so let me show you that. So I'm just pulling out of my neighborhood here. I'm in the normal drive mode, and I'm just accelerating just kind of normally. We're in first gear, now we're in third. Everybody see that? It actually happens. Now we're in fourth. So the reason why we're in fourth is because I'm slowing down a little bit so I can go around this corner, and then we'll start accelerating again a little bit. So now it went from fourth to fifth. That was a single change. Now we're in sixth, and we're going about 30 miles per hour. So it's a really smart transmission that if I accelerate quicker, which I'll do here, so I'm going to slow down. This time, I'm going to give it more gas, and it won't skip gears. So here we go. There's first, there's second, there's third, and there's fourth. I got to slow down around this curve. So it will, I've never seen it skip more than one gear as you're accelerating. So it'll go from 1 to 3 and 3 to 5. And typically after that, it's making single gear changes. It'll go from 1 to 2, but then it will go from 2 to 4 or 4 to 6. So it's not just the odd gears; it'll also skip to the even gears also. And then if you're going, let's see here if I can make it happen up this hill and just keep it on this same video clip. So I'm going up this slight hill here. We're going about 40 miles per hour. We're in 6th gear. Now we're in 7th gear. Now I'm gonna gun it. And we skipped immediately to 3rd gear. So I went from 7th to 3rd in like a 1/10 of a second. I did it again. And I'm going down maybe about 2/3 of the way on the pedal. So that was an immediate shift from 7th gear down to 3rd. It's an incredibly smart transmission. That's why I'm telling you, the transmission engine combination on this vehicle is fantastic. And what's helping the vehicle generate the power and the smoothness is a combination of the engine and the transmission. I really don't have a lot to add about all the information that's out there on the EcoBoost motor that's in this vehicle, because there's just so much great information out there on it. It's been really reliable, and it's quiet, refined. It just does a fantastic job. But that transmission, I just showed you how it goes from 1 to 3 and skip gears and so forth. But then those huge downshifts to get right into the power band are incredible. So anyway, that's another great feature I love about my 2018 Ford Expedition. All right, the next feature I love about my 2018 Ford Expedition is the massaging seats. Now, there's 2 ways to access the massaging seats. You can do it the long way, which is you push the settings button, and then you have to move 2 screens over, and you can touch on what's called multi-contour seats. Here you have 2 settings. You have the adjust setting here, which is to adjust your lumbar. So this would be to adjust your upper lumbar, your medium lumbar, and your lower lumbar. And if you just push this higher, then it adjusts the lumbar in the back. If you want to turn on the massaging seats, you push the massage button, and then you have 2 choices. You have a high setting, which pushes a little bit firmer, and you have a low setting, which pushes a little bit less. And this is what I love about this feature. I've had massaging seats on vehicles in the past, but I've never had them where your rear end gets massaged. And these are just hitting your glute muscles on your butt, and it's really an area that gets, if you go to a chiropractor and they talk about, you know, what tightens up, it's not just the muscles in your lower back, it's also the muscles in your rear end that get tight after long drives. And so Ford has figured out a way to give you a massage feature on that, and you can adjust to have each one of these on or off, or set to a low or a high setting. So now I showed you the first way to access the massaging seats. So let's go back to navigation here real quick. The first way is through the settings button, going over 2 screens and pushing that button for the multi-contour seats. The second way is actually on the seat. So over here is your seat control. So this is to move your seat forward and back. This, of course, is for your backrest. And this right here is to control your lumbar and so forth. But in the middle, there's this hidden little button. And if you push this button right here, I'm going to jump back in the truck. I'm going to push this little middle button, and you'll see what happens on the screen. So here we go. I'm going to push the button, 1, 2, 3, and all of a sudden the massaging seat feature pops up for you, so you don't have to go through all those menus. So again, this is to adjust the driver's seat, and if you want to turn on the passenger seat, you just push the passenger button, and they have the exact same controls. I love the massaging seats on my Ford Expedition. All right, the next feature I love about my Ford Expedition is the second row seats. These seats are awesome. So they have the ability to adjust the lumbar right here. Actually, to adjust the rake of the seat back right here, just by pulling this up, you can adjust it. You can also flip it down, so it's a flat floor. Now, the feature that I think is awesome is these seats also can recline. So you can move them way up if you got somebody really tall in the 3rd row, or if you want maximum legroom, you can pull it like that. The last feature that I love about these seats is if you pull this lever right here, if there was a car seat here like there is on the other side, you can actually get enormous access to that 3rd row. And then when you're ready to flip the seat back, you just push it back like this, and it goes back to its original position. That's an awesome car seat. Okay, everybody, the next feature that I love about my Expedition is the drive mode indicator or selector. I call it Drive Select, but the ability to control how your engine and transmission function is pretty neat. So this is a Ford Expedition Platinum Max. We've got the extended length version. And so this drive mode is pretty incredible. So this is the button I'm going to turn. You've got the ability to be in 2-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive. There's no 4-wheel low setting on this vehicle, but it's automatic 4-wheel drive. And so anyway, let me show you how this works. I'm going to turn this. It doesn't push down or anything like that. You can only turn it. So I'm going to turn this. I'm going to show you on the dashboard exactly what's happening. So when you turn the vehicle on, it automatically defaults to this normal setting that you just saw. If you turn the button to the right, clockwise, the first one you come to is this eco setting. Now, the eco mode, it actually does make a difference in how the transmission shifts. And what I've noticed is that the engine is more efficient with how it manages what gear you're in, and also the turbo boost. And so the engine will actually rev a little bit lower and use naturally aspirated torque, more so than just going to full turbo as a way to generate more efficiency. So I think that that when you're generating a lot of turbo boost, you're obviously dumping a lot of fuel into the cylinders, and that's not real fuel efficient, but it does generate a lot of power, which is the whole key of a turbo boosted motor. But to get the best fuel efficiency, you're best staying out of the turbo boost, or as much as possible, and keeping that boost low and relying more on engine torque that's built naturally, or at least in very low boost modes, to generate that power. So anyway, that is the eco mode. Next over is sport mode. Now this, when you go to this mode, you automatically get shifted into four-wheel drive. I can also push this back to two-wheel drive if I want, and you get this two-wheel drive indicator here on the dashboard, if you can see that. But now I'm in sport mode, and again, the indicator's right here for what mode you're in. I didn't show you that on the eco mode, but it's a little green leaf that will show up down there when you're in eco mode, and then you get this kind of fancy, I think it's kind of like an Audi inspired S, I think, in my opinion, for sport mode. So what's happening here is that the transmission no longer skips gears. It goes from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It does it all the way up through all 10 gears. It also holds revs higher. It downshifts, and you feel some engine braking when you are coming slowing down to a stop. And the exhaust sound is a little bit louder, which I think is artificially generated in this vehicle. And so it's a really great mode. The vehicle is more ride controlled. It's got an air suspension system on it, and it is more ride controlled, but it's not harsh at all. It's actually not a bad, some roads where I live, I actually prefer to drive it in sport mode. It's more comfortable than some of the other modes, because those other modes, the truck kind of wallows maybe a little bit. So sport mode is a really interesting mode. Now you've got some other ones on here too. So this is tow haul mode. This one, again, like most of these, you get the ability to be in four-wheel drive or two-wheel drive. Tow haul mode does what all tow haul modes do, is it just manages the transmission and the power as if you were, if you're towing a trailer. That's where you would want to use that. You've got mud and ruts, which which it allows the engine and the transmission and the four-wheel drive to operate in a mud or a rutty condition. It also automatically turns traction control off, which will help you get through the mud, because it allows power to all four wheels all the time. Next one up is sand. So sand, in my opinion, is very similar to the mud and ruts. I don't notice a whole lot of difference there. I'm sure the Ford engineers have something that's different, but I can't really detect what that is. Then you've got grass, gravel, and snow. So in this mode, it just limits power a little bit, and you do have the ability to shift the gears manually, and I can show you that here real quick. I will put it in drive, and you can go into this manual mode, which you see right here showing up as a M1, and then I can actually start this vehicle off in second gear if I want. If I'm starting at a stoplight, I want to limit the power. So you do have some pretty good flexibility with how the transmission shifts. So anyway, this drive mode select is really great. Those are all the settings. You've got normal, eco, sport, tow haul, mud ruts, sand, grass, gravel, snow, and then you're back to the normal mode. So anyway, I love that drive select feature. It's a feature I love about my Expedition. All right, the next feature I love about my Expedition is just the technology in general. We came into this vehicle from a Mercedes that I really liked the way that vehicle drove, but honestly, the technology on it was really no good. The navigation system could hardly ever accept an address by using voice control. Then you would have to stop and enter it in, and it was just a pain. This vehicle never misses an address. It is just rock solid. Everything works on it all the time. There's so much confidence that is generated by how well and smooth the radar-based cruise control works. The voice recognition system is absolutely fantastic. This has got the Bang & Olufsen sound system, and listen, I know some people may say, hey, it's not the greatest sound system in the world. I really like it for what goes into a family vehicle. It's a really good system, especially when you think about the price point. You can spend $4,000 or $5,000 on a upgraded sound system from some of these German car manufacturers, and what you get here for less than $1,000 for the B&O, it's a great system. So anyway. The navigation system, it's got a traditional map on it, but it's fantastic, and like I say, it works all the time. There's so many great features with how you can access different controls. So Ford has added a little button right here that allows you to quickly go to controlling your treble, bass, and mid-range. I love that. There's a little quick button here to get to the heated steering wheel. You push that and that comes on. You now have 3 modes to control your auto for the heating and air conditioning system. So if you want the fan to blow lower, you put it there. If you want the fan to blow higher, you put it there. And then of course you've got a medium setting, which is fantastic. Heated and cooled seats. We already talked about the massaging seats. The headlights are LED headlights. They work great. The fog lights are LEDs. They fill in that area right in front of the bumper fantastically. There's just so much great technology on this vehicle. I don't even know where to really start. The 10-speed transmission that was a joint venture between Ford and General Motors, but each manufacturer got to choose their own and customize their own software to their individual vehicle applications. This transmission is just flawless. It's a great piece of technology that they came out with. And when you pair that with Ford's just tried and true and proven and very high powered, high torque EcoBoost motor, it's just a great combo for power, fuel efficiency, and honestly refinement and smoothness also. So I don't know. There's so much to talk about technology-wise. I'm just going to leave it at that. There's just so much going on here, and it all works every single time the first time. It's just absolutely great. So anyway, technology, it's a great feature about the Ford Expedition. All right, the next feature I love about my Ford Expedition is the second row legroom. So I'm tall. I am 6'7". If you can see my head here compared to the vehicle, I'm way above the top of this truck, and almost parallel with the top of my Super Duty that's pretty high up off the ground. And the second row legroom of this Expedition is just awesome. So I've got this front seat set right to where I am comfortable. It's all the way back, and the seat back is set right to where I like to sit. And there's nearly 10 inches of legroom over here. I would say that's about 9 3/4 inches of legroom for the second row passenger. Now this seat is all the way back. It still leaves some pretty tremendous legroom for the third row. So if I'm going to measure that real quick, if you can see that there, that is about 9 inches of legroom in the third row. And so, with being such a tall guy, I've got 4 kids and a great wife, and we need quite a bit of legroom in the back seat. And what I found out was that other vehicles in the segment that this Ford Expedition competes in, they just don't offer the second row legroom like the Ford Expedition did. Ford's had a history of really catering to second row passengers. If you look at the Ford Flex, and if you're looking for a lot of second row legroom, that's one of the best vehicles in the market today. Ford Expedition, I would say, is as good, if not better, with second row legroom. I think there's about 3 or 4 inches of more legroom in this vehicle versus its counterparts over at General Motors. So anyway, second row legroom, great feature on the Ford Expedition. Hey everybody, okay, so I'm going to show you now the parallel parking feature, which is just a great feature on this truck. It's a big truck. Parallel parking is probably a skill that, probably a good decent percentage of the population could improve at, and Ford is trying to make that a relatively stress-free maneuver. So I can't find a whole lot of places in my little town where we can do actual parallel parking. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this vehicle that's in front of me and try to show you that. So I'm trying not to block traffic here while these cars are going by. So, okay, so if you look at those cars in front of me, I'm gonna recreate a parallel parking environment. So if you're coming up to a position where you're like, hey, listen, I need to parallel park this vehicle. I'm gonna start looking for spots on the right-hand side of my vehicle. You come down here and you push this button right here. When you do that, parallel park, searching for space on the right side, drive forward. If you want to look on the left-hand side, you would turn your signal to search to the left. You would use your turn signal to search for the left, but we're going to search to the right. So I've got my right turning indicator on, and now we're searching for a parking spot on the right-hand side. And as I'm pulling up, the vehicle is telling me to stop. Space found. Release the steering wheel. So I've taken my hands off of the steering wheel, shift the vehicle in reverse. So I go into reverse and it says back up slowly. So I'm backing up, and what you're gonna see happen is the steering wheel is gonna start to turn automatically. My hand's right here, my other hand is holding on to the camera, and the vehicle is actually parking itself, okay? So it is parking itself into this parking spot all by itself. And the screen still says back up slowly, and now it says to stop. And the steering wheel is nearly straight. I'm gonna put it into drive. It says drive forward. I'm driving forward. And then it says prepare to stop. So I'm gonna stop right here. We've got finish that shows up there. I'm gonna show you what we just did. So I'm gonna jump out of the vehicle here real quick. So hang with me. I gotta let this car go by that's behind me. Gonna do this safely so nobody gets hurt. And we just perfectly parallel parked this car using Ford technology. So you can see how perfectly lined up it is with the vehicles in front. We're not sticking out, it's perfectly positioned. And then here on the right-hand side is lined up. I've done this before where the vehicle will actually put the tires within about 1.5 inches or 2 inches from the curb on the right-hand side. It's just really incredible how good this technology works. All you have to do is shift gears and use the brake pedal. The vehicle does all the steering, all the positioning, all the estimating, virtually all the parking and all the difficult stuff. So it's a great feature. So automatic parallel parking, it's a feature I absolutely love about my Ford Expedition. All right, the next feature I love about my Ford Expedition, and actually the last feature I love about this truck, although there's so much to talk about, it's hard to keep it just to 10. But that's the ability to fold all the seats inside this truck from the rear. So over here, you have a control panel that allows you to control both rows of seats. So if I want to lower this left side in my third row, I'm gonna hit the button called 3L. So I'm gonna push that button, and what you'll see is it'll fold, and that seat back's gonna fold down. There it goes, and it folds flat. Sorry about how dirty it is. All right, and let's say I wanna fold the right side. Push the button, it does the same thing. Folds forward, comes down. If I want to pull them back up, I just push the button again and it will come back up. So I'm gonna let's set that back down here real quick because I want to show you the second row. Now, watch the second row left seat. I'm gonna push this button here that says 2L, folds flat. How sweet is that? Now, that second row seat will not come up by itself. You have to go in and pull it back up. But if you're back here and you've got to load something really big and long, you can actually fold all three of those second row seats through these three buttons right here, 2L, 2 middle, and 2 right. And then if they're down and you want to pull that third row up, then you're just going to hit the 3L or the 3R, and those seats will come up for you automatically. It's it's magic. Super flat floor back here, and then if you just need to pull the headrests up, it's really easy just to flip these up and you are good to go. So anyway, so great feature on the Ford Expedition. So I'll be right back in a minute. Thanks. Okay, everybody, hopefully you thought that was helpful with those top 10 features on the Ford Expedition. You know, part of the reason why I like to make these videos, and I probably should have mentioned this at the very beginning, was that, you know, in my opinion, there's just not a lot of really good information on manufacturer websites, especially in the automobile space. And so hopefully this video helps show you in detail some of the features on the vehicle. You know, these are, I say my top 10 features. These are, I think, 10 features that in some cases are pretty unique. Other cases, it's just really good in-depth instruction on how they work and so forth, and some feedback about how I feel about them. But I could probably have made a top 20 list on this vehicle. There are so many features on this vehicle, I just don't have time to cover all of them. I probably will make a separate video just on the instrument panel. It's a technology feature that I think is just really neat, and I love the display and all the information that you have available to you. So be on the lookout for that in the next couple weeks. I'll try to get that video put together here. So anyway, if you have any questions, please put those in the comments below, and I'll get back to you right away, I promise. Please subscribe, don't forget to do that. Share this video with your friends, anybody that's in the market for an SUV. It might be a pretty good information for those folks to have if they're looking in the SUV market space, or especially at the Expedition specifically. So thanks again for being here. I appreciate you, and have a great day. Take care. Bye.